Sunderland versus Newcastle ended 1-0. Like and subscribe, and let's get straight into it. And I'm going to be completely honest. It was a pretty slow first half. It was pretty slow. There wasn't much creativity, many shots on goal. It was pretty slow with all of that. And going into the second half, I thought, how does Malik Tao not have a yellow card? The amount of fouls he did on Broby, the amount of counterattacks he stopped, foul on foul. How did he not have a yellow? And I don't even think he ended with a yellow. In the second half, he did multiple fouls as well. But the amount of counterattacks he stopped, the amount of times he kicked Broby, the amount of fouls he did, how did Malik Dowd not get a yellow card? I still don't understand. I still don't. He just stopped so many counterattacks. He did a good like, and it wasn't even like he did so many fouls. But the fouls he did, it was literally kicking Broby or another player, like kicking them. He wouldn't even touch the ball. So I was surprised with that in the first half. You know, it was pretty slow, like I said. And look, second half starts. And you could just tell this needed a goal. This needed a goal. They crossed the ball, and Walter Mare scores an own goal. And let's talk about the own goal, right? Because yeah, he's getting a lot of stick for it. He's getting a lot of hate or like memes, just like general social media things, right? But that's just a hard situation because believe it or not, it's just he has to make a choice, and the choice is put your head on it, try and get your head on the ball, or let it go past through you. And if you're any player in the world, you're not letting the ball get through you. So what you're gonna do? You're obviously gonna put your head through it. You're gonna try and get the ball out of there. But it's just like the way he did it, the way he executed the idea. It looked like he wanted to score the goal. You know, he even twisted his head a little bit. It looked like it, but you know, it was a hard one. You know, I like Wotamade, and it looked like he was trying to score, but it's one of those things where you have to make the choice on the instant, where you have to put your head on there because you can't let the ball go through. Because you never know if the ball goes past you. You never know what's gonna happen in the box, right? So he puts his head on it, own goal, and this opened up the game. This really helped the game a lot because this got Newcastle on it. And talking about Newcastle, I think Eddie Howe got this game plan wrong. You know, it felt to me that he wanted to counterattack, counterattack, counterattack. I think you could see that with Elanga and Gordon starting, with who have been two of your worst attackers this season. You put in Murphy in, you put in Barnes in, like later in the game, pretty late in the game, in my opinion, when they should be starting. They've been your the games you've won have been with either Barnes and Murphy, or one of them or both of them, you know, but they are involved some way or another, right? Gordon has been terrible this 2025. Elanga has been trash for Newcastle. He's had a moment or two here and there, but he hasn't been to the standard of what 50 million that he cost. He cost around there. And yeah, it looked like it was just, their touches were terrible. They were tried to push the ball forward and use their speed on it, but it's like at 10 yards, you're right here. The end line is right here. You're trying to push it and then speed your way through it. It was very low IQ moments by both of them. You know, they try to use their speed, but when even they wouldn't even get to the ball. They try to use their speed in the last 10 to 5 yards, which you're not. It's rarely gonna work, unless you're like prime Adama Traore type of speed with physicality. But yeah, it was. I think they were terrible today. I think, and even when Barnes came in, and even when Jacob Murphy came in, they didn't really do much. But I feel like they would have been effective if they had started the game right. But I feel like Newcastle went too defensive. They were too casual with it. It didn't really feel like they wanted to go for the win. On the other hand, Sunderland did. You know, they kept attacking. They tried to keep going. You know, they couldn't really break Newcastle's defense down. But I think that's because Newcastle were kind of defensive for the team that we see Newcastle. You know, Champions League team. You know, and then this was a pretty defensive game by them. And I think Sunderland, right? They've been so good this season, and you know, people were expecting a drop off. They did drop some points here and there, but this is a derby, right? They're gonna go all out for it. And for me, two players that stood out today, and that have been standouts the whole season, right? But today, for me, it was Mukiele and Reinildo. They were both amazing, right? Reinildo, I know him from Atletico Madrid, and I've known him. Mukiele, I've seen him before, PSG and Leverkusen, I believe it was. But today they were amazing. They should, like I said, Anthony Gordon and Elanga were pretty trash today, but partly because of Mukiele and Reinildo, right? And that's why I give them so props, because when they came off, when Elanga and Gordon came off. Harvey Barnes, Murphy, they Mukele and Reinildo kept them quiet as well. Like they were struggling, they couldn't pass by them with speed or physicality or technique. They couldn't get past them. They couldn't do anything. And even going forward, Reinildo was an outlet. Mukele was up there all the time. And I just think it was a very good game by them. I think they were honorable mentions for man of the match, but my man of the match is LaFay. I think this guy, he was the outlet for them. Every time he got the ball, take on a player, pass the ball, move, pass and move. You guys know I love that type of player. Gets the ball, passes, moves, keeps going, and moves forward. Doesn't really try and keep the ball back or anything. He tries to go forward, pass, move, and he was just an outlet today. No one in Sunderland scored or assisted, but I think LaFay was very good today. He was the outlet. Every time he was on the ball, he was going to try and go forward or keep. He wouldn't really lose the ball, and he was. I think he was my man of the match. I like how the way he played, and like I said, it was a lackluster game when it came to creativity and attack. But when it came to physicality, fouls, fighting for the ball, aggressiveness, that's what you expect from a game like this. A derby between Newcastle and Sunderland. This is what you expect, right? And yeah, I just think Eddie Howe got it wrong. He looked very defensive, like he just wanted to play counterattack. And even like Lewis Hall drifting into midfield, I don't like that. I like Lewis Hall out and wide and attacking and overlapping. That's what I like from Lewis Hall. You don't need Lewis. I don't want to see him in the midfield. You have Tonali, you have Guimaraes, you have these players, you don't need him to go into the midfield. You just don't. And he would pick up some balls there, but I feel like he's more effective when he's overlapping, when he's wide, when he could take a player on and he has a good cross. Ultimati got absolutely no crosses, right? And you saw the own goal. He was a good header. He has a header on him. We've seen in the Prem this season. And I just think, like, I don't want Lewis Hall to be drifting into midfield. Like, I like Lewis Hall. He's one of my favorite left backs in the Prem. I don't need to see him in midfield. I like how good he is on the ball, crossing and doing all this overlapping, attacking, running down the wing. That's what I like seeing Lewis Hall, right? I don't, when I watch specific teams because of different players. And Newcastle, I like watching Tonali. I like watching Walter. Lewis Hall is one of the players I like watching from Newcastle. So see him go into midfield when I like how he overlaps, how he attacks on the wing. It's just annoying to see from them. And yeah, I just think he got it wrong. I like the game. I wanted Sunderland to win. I wanted Sunderland to win. You guys know about the Mexican connection with Sunderland, and I wanted them to win, and I was glad they got the win. It was a well fought game. I thought Sunderland was the better team today, even though it was pretty lackluster when it came to, like I said, creativity and attack. But I wanted Sunderland to win. They got the win, and I want to talk about their goalkeeper Roof. Right, this guy, the amount of balls he would come out and claim, I think really messed Newcastle up because Newcastle have very physical. They have good aerial winners, but the Roof would just come out, pick up the ball. Come out, pick up the ball. I'm an America fan, right? I don't see Malagon do this, right? I haven't seen a Mexican goalkeeper do this, and seeing Sunderland have this goalkeeper be so safe coming out his line I really liked watching that type of goalkeeper. Comes out, claims the ball, ends it there. He doesn't hit it, he doesn't smack it. He comes out, picks it up, and cuts everything out for Newcastle. So I think Roof had like 3, 4 of those at one point, and I just think he just turned off when it comes to like the second balls, winning the second balls off the headers. I think Newcastle do that a lot. They win the second balls. They send it to Ultimate. Ultimate either cleans it up or makes it hard for the attackers, and Newcastle pick it up with their physicality in midfield, pick up the second ball, right? And with Roof coming out and claiming the ball, it just shuts everything down when it comes to that form of attacking, right? The second balls have been so important in the Premier season. Picking up the second ball, hoofing the ball up, winning the second balls in midfield, physicality, getting there first. And Roof today, just every time the ball would be near there, he would come out and claim it. And I think that was very important. And I really like seeing that type of goalkeeper. He's been very good this season. And Sunderland, Shaka, I could talk about him all for like hours, right? He's the type of midfielder I like, all rounder, left footed, technical, breaking lines with his passes, switching play. I love Shaka. I could talk about him. But yeah, my man of the match today was LaFay. My honorable mentions were Mukele, Reinildo. And yeah, Sunderland win the derby, and I'm excited for the game at Newcastle's home ground, right? Because Sunderland fans were active, they were so loud, and even after the game ended, you could hear it above the commentators how loud they were, and they even took the picture that Newcastle did. I think it was not too long ago, and I'm excited for that derby at the Newcastle's ground. So let's see how it goes. But Sunderland win. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's halftime of the Madrid game that I'm recording right now. So I got you guys with the video. So peace out.